You'll notice there's a new link in the description. It's my Patreon link. If you're interested in seeing what that's all about, click on it and become a patron. We're going to talk about some tools today. I had only planned on talking about one specific tool, but I've got a whole bunch out and I didn't feel like putting them away. So they're pretty cool tools, so I'm going to just discuss a few that I got on the workbench. First one up, as a lot of you know, I'm a fan of this HomeRite Finish Max Super. I used it just today and last night to spray some closet shelves that I built. And the first couple coats, I sprayed some Kills 2 latex primer. I didn't thin it at all. I just used the adjustments here and the correct tip size, and was blown away. It's actually the first time I've sprayed, non-thinned latex. And then I finished it up with this. This is exterior paint, white semi-gloss, and the reason I use this is I just because I had it, and it sprayed this without thinning really well and put out a really good finish. Tool number 2 is I guess a power planer. It has a lot of uses. In this particular case, I was shaping the pieces of wood that were going into the closet to the shape of the closet. It's real easy just to take off what do I have this set at? 1/32. And I can take that 1/32 off on just a specific spot of the board and then just come out with a low kickback and feather that cut. The next tool, this is the one it's not what the video is about. Actually, we'll jump onto this one. This one here is a thickness planer. I used this to get the cup out of these boards that I was using. Typically I would just use a piece of MDF for the shelves. It's a long story. You'll have to wait for that video to come out of why I chose to use these boards. But I put them through this thing, got them all flat. Another big reason is I use this is they had 80 years of paint on them, different colors, and I wasn't about to sand it all off by hand. So I fed it through this thing. Just like that, I got a brand new raw piece of wood that made a great shelf. This one, I posted this on Instagram, and someone said, "Oh, did Hilti send you something?" I'm like, no way am I that big on YouTube. I wish they would have sent me a new one of these because it runs about $1,000. I sent them a used one. I picked this tool up in 2008 when I was working in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The floor surfaces are mostly tile, and I did way more tile than I could ever want to do again. I hate it. Kind of ruined tile for me. But I did a lot of removal of tile, and this is the tool. I burn it up. I use it so much. And it needed to be sent back to Hilti to be rebuilt. And man, this thing is almost brand new now. I mean, look at that. It's got the whole new chuck up front here. It may even be upgraded. The housing of this thing is beat. But these Hiltis, this is just one of the blades that I have for chip and tile. And did they even clean that up too? Do this. Just like that. They put a new cord on it. Hilti is a brand that you can own for your lifetime and like pass it down. This tool, they looked up the serial number. I think it's 20 years old, but they did a significant amount of tool repair. $253 worth of repairs. And while it was at the Hilti repair place, I started pricing out a new one, and that's when I was like, okay, well, let's see what we can get this repaired for. So I prepaid for $350, and they only used 253 of that. And as I'm thinking about that, I don't think I got my refund of the difference. This guy here, you'll see in the future, I may do a specific video on the capabilities of this, because it does more than just chip. This is a big hammer drill also, but this thing will just blow through tile no matter where it was adhered to. There is a tool for just about every job, an exact tool that was designed for a very specific job, and I've got a lot of them in here. I've got, you know, a nice compound miter saw. I've got 2 band saws, a big Powermatic whatchamacallit here, table saw. I've got a whole bunch of other things, drill presses, got another table saw here. But a lot of times you don't have that tool, or you don't have that tool on the job that you're on, and you need to improvise. And this tool here is a great improvising tool, and it's referred to as a multi-tool. It first came out on an infomercial a long time ago. Of course, it was a corded tool, and the only place you could get it was on this infomercial. And I have a friend, well, I used to work for the guy. I don't know how old he is now, 50 something? He's in his 50s. And I remember when he first got it, and he was all proud of it. I thought it was a gimmick because he bought it off of an infomercial. Little did I know, it was going to be one of the most significant advancements in power tools. Everything else is pretty much the same. Drills, everything in here has been around forever. You know, all my cordless power tools, there's been plug versions of them. But this thing here, it hasn't been around, you know, for the last 50 years. It's a multi-tool, as I said before. It's got this blade on there that just vibrates back and forth. But, of course, you don't want to do that too long, but there's the tip of my finger. See, just barely scratched it. I didn't know what was going to really happen. I mean, I bumped it into myself before using it, but it is pretty much harmless. But let me grab a piece of wood here. We won't cheap out on it. Well, this isn't exactly a new blade, but there's half. And that's just freehand holding it up in the air. If I had this down on a bench or something, probably could have cut some time off of there. You can see how I was coming at different angles. So it'll zip through a 2x4 with a used blade, but still won't cut your finger off. That's pretty amazing. Dust in here.
Get your dust mask on, Handyman.
I've had two. Of course, I've got. Obviously, this is a rigid tool. You get it at Home Depot. I've got 2 generations of this tool. Generation 1, same battery, 12 volts. Yes, they're all 12 volts of these rigids here, both of them. This is the new one. Came up here. The old one burnt up rather quickly in less than a year of Handyman use. But I had already bought some upgraded batteries, and I think I've misplaced some. And I actually lost the motor part that burned up. I think I tossed it and just kept a good battery and the old head. The old head goes on the new body. Isn't that much different? Quiet. That's the old one. This is the new one. It's like violent. The old one, you used to have to use a Allen head to switch the blades out. New one, blade comes off, blade goes on, and that's pretty darn convenient that it's a toolless blade change. I picked up, I was supposed to do this video a long time ago. These are 2 amp hour batteries I got on a Black Friday deal. Old batteries. Actually, no, I think I got 3 of them. Yeah, 3. Got all these here. Now, why did I pick rigid over Dewalt? Like I have most all my other tools. The price point. These were really affordable. And when this one burned up, I was kind of invested into it because I don't know. I think just because of the batteries that I had accumulated, and I got a charger. So this charger and this charger will charge all the batteries if I really won't need to do a lot of work with this thing. Another reason, I didn't realize it at the time, but another reason to get rigid, and I'm not, even though I've got rigid tools, not at all a rigid super fan by any means. It's got different head attachments. So this is the motor and the trigger. And let me put a battery back in here. And you can't pull the trigger until the head's on. And this is a right angle drill. And several videos ago I put this to the maximum torture test. And I thought for sure it was going to burn up. And if it burned up, I was going to upgrade a tier level in the tool world here. What do we call that? Tier level in tool quality. More of a higher contractor grade tool. But even though this thing was stinking and smelling and not quite to smoke, we are another 2-3 months since I did that job, and it's still going strong. Now, what that torture test was, inadvertently, was I had a 5/8 inch auger bit, drill bit on this thing, where I was fishing wire through walls, and I had a tiny little hole, and I had to drill through a 2x4, and this thing definitely didn't have enough power or torque, so I ended up cranking and then going back with the motor and cranking and cranking and cranking, basically hand cranking it in there. And then it finally broke through. But I really, really overheated it and treated it badly. So as I'm looking at this here, this Job Max, there is a whole bunch of tool attachments. I only have one. And we've got a ratchet. We've got something else. We got this. We've got that one. There is even a nailer, a pneumatic. Well, it's not pneumatic because it's not made of air. If you watch my deck building video, you'll notice I use an air compressor and a palm nailer. Well, there is an attachment for this thing as like a palm nailer to nail something in a tight spot. And then there is a little like mini jigsaw attachment for this thing. So that is, I don't know if Dewalt has that option with all those attachments for one tool. I actually may pick some of those options up. Like I said, I don't know if you can see that. Underneath the head here is a picture of all the attachments that can go on this thing. Now, why the uses for this tool? Let's just go back to the basics. The original invention was this: to cut through wood, just like that. There's a lot of different blades that you can get. There's even a sanding pad somewhere in here. Well, this little sanding doohickey goes in here. This flips down on, and oops, got two. This will stick right on there like that. Or some fine detailed sanding in a corner, it'll work. I mostly use this tool, so just put the blade back on upside down. And you can put it in any orientation to suit your needs. I think it's supposed to go this way. I usually use it for undercutting door jambs and door casing. When I'm installing flooring, put the floor down, what you're putting in, if it's a tile, laminate, wood, or hardwood, and put this right on top, and then cut right in, and you have a perfect cut for your new flooring to slide under. I also use it for cutting drywall. I use this thing more than I use a utility knife to cut drywall. Cutting in light fixtures, cutting in switches, receptacles, and just straight up cuts. You know, I'll run this right across a 4-foot sheet of drywall, 8x4. You know, cut the 4-foot area, and it works great. They've got blades for cutting steel, blades for even cutting through like tile, ceramic tile, blades for removing grout. They've got flat blades. It's like a knife that is good for removing caulking. I don't know if a lot of people say they use this to remove old tub caulking. I haven't been brave enough. Maybe I'll try it in the future sometime. So I do go through quite a few blades, and this is just to give you an idea of what I got in here. This is a new one, but and I don't mess around when they get dull. This one is a slightly dull one. That one's a little bit more dull. This is one that came with it. Didn't last very long. I buy blades from Amazon, and the last box of 50, I was going through trying to find where I bought it, the last box, and I had to go back to 2015. So I went through 50 blades in 3 years. And if you price these out at Home Depot and take their price, this is a wood, plastic, and aluminum is what this is good for. It's not going to cut through metal. It's not meant to cut through metal. And I got different tools to cut through metal. But this is a box of 50. I've already kind of got into them a little bit. But I'm not going to count them up for you. But the last 50 lasted me 3 years. And I used this. I burnt the first one up onto my second one. And I use it quite a bit. And like I said, I don't mess around, you know, starting fires with dull blades. Setting smoke alarms off in people's houses. Jesus. So I will put a link. It will be the second link. First link is reserved for my Patreon link. The second link in the description will be to where I get these. I think this was $52. It was in the 50s. Low 50s. I'll have to look it up. You can look it up. For 50 blades. That's real darn close to $1 a blade. I mean, for $1 blade compared to what's off the shelf, and the amount of work that I've gotten done with just these, you know, no-name Amazon blades, there's no way I could afford to buy 50, you know, Porter cable blades, or, you know, what else, Dewalt blades, who you know the names. I'd go broke. If you have questions, obviously put them in the comment section. If you have any requests for other tool videos, also definitely put those in the comments, and I will do a video on a specific tool or a specific tool for a job. So you say, I need to cut this, I need to weld that, whatever it is, I probably have the tool for the job. And if I don't, you can always just use this multi-tool.